Have you ever wanted to have more control over the way the WordPress default navigation block presents your menus on different devices and screen sizes? For example, you might want to have different styling for your menu on mobile, or maybe you want to have completely different menu items altogether on different device sizes. If so, then this video might just be for you. I've devised a super simple way to extend the WordPress default navigation block to achieve all of this. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to set it up for your site. Be sure to stick around until the end of the video, where I'm going to show you the quickest and easiest way to get access to all this functionality for free using only a few clicks. So if you're ready, let's dive in. So here we are in the site editor, and let's take a look at what we're going to be implementing in this video. As you can see, I'm using a version of 2024, and I've just made some stylistic changes here to the header. I'm going to toggle open the list view here so we can see better what we're doing, and I'm going to select the navigation block, which we can see here. And first thing that those of you might notice is that we have two navigation blocks here, one called desktop navigation and the other one called mobile navigation. And if I click on mobile navigation, the editor resizes itself and shows us the contents of that mobile navigation. I can close and open these, and if I choose to switch back to desktop, I can switch back to desktop. Now, you'll note that the desktop navigation has 3 items in it, whereas the mobile navigation has not only those 3 items, but it also has social links and a search box. Moreover, we have applied a custom color to the background. Currently, this matches what we're seeing on desktop, but we can easily change that as required to be something completely different if we want to, such as this. So what we have here is essentially 2 completely independent navigations that will show at different screen sizes. Let's take a look at the front of our site now. I will go to Preview, View Site, and here is our desktop navigation. I'm going to use the browser's built-in developer tools to switch to a mobile layout. And as you can see here, now we have the mobile version of that navigation showing. And we are seeing the custom mobile navigation that we just created in the editor here. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how you can implement this technique to create a custom desktop and mobile responsive navigation. Keep watching to find out how I did this. Let's take a quick look now at the current navigation block that comes with WordPress. I've opened up WordPress Playground here to have a fresh WordPress install, and I've applied some styling to this navigation block. And by default, out of the box, WordPress comes with this single navigation block that serves all purposes. And indeed, it does provide out of the box a measure of responsive ability, which is quite handy. And you can even choose to have different styles for your overlay if you so wish. And that works quite well. But let me show you where this quickly breaks down. So we like the layout of our items on desktop, but we're not sure about them on mobile. So let's switch back to mobile. What I don't like particularly is how close these items are to each other. So what I'll do is I'll go over to the styles area here, and I'm going to increase the block spacing to 5 looks about right. And I'm also not happy the text is too small. I think for mobile, the hit area is going to be too small, so I'm going to bump that up to large. Yeah, I think that looks good. Let's go with that. We'll save where we are there. We'll switch back to desktop, and we will have to close the overlay. And oh dear, our navigation now looks really bad on desktop. That's not what we wanted. And this is the first example where the default navigation block kind of breaks down. Because you were using a single block to service both your presentation on desktop and on mobile, what you end up with is that the styles are very coupled together. So if you style the text to be one size, it will apply across both desktop and mobile. And there is no way of decoupling that as out of the box with WordPress. So that's one of the first ways it breaks down. What we can do is also show you what happens when you add a submenu. So let's add a submenu now to this, and we can see it's green. Oh, I don't really like green. Should we change green to match the the same as this background color, so it kind of looks nice. Yeah, that's a bit better. Submenu text, let's change that to black so it matches. Yeah, that's looking okay. Again, I don't like the text size, so let's reset the text size as well. Back to what it was, and I suppose we better reset the block spacing back to what it was. But at least now we've got these nice drop downs. Brilliant. Let's take a look at how that looks on mobile. Oh, and here's the second problem. Now our overlay has changed from green, as we did have it, to the same grey colour. And that, you know, it doesn't look terrible, but if you wanted it to be green, that's not what you're looking for. And the reason that is because submenu and overlay backgrounds are tied together under one colour control here. Now there's reasons for that, they're historical reasons, but it does present a problem because if you want your overlay drop downs to be one colour and your mobile overlay background to be a different colour, you can't do this with the existing WordPress navigation block. And that is a problem, and it is one of the issues that it needs to be addressed. So lastly, let me show you what happens if you want to have something different in your overlay here. So let's say we're going to add a social links block. No, let's add a search block. Okay, add a search block. We're going to add that search block there. Yeah, that looks good to me. I like that on mobile. I'd like to have a search block so people can do a search. Let's close that now. Let's switch back to desktop. Oh, kind of has broken my layout on desktop. I don't like that. I don't want the search block on the desktop navigation. I just want it to appear on mobile. But unfortunately, you can't do that. And the reason for that is because you are using a single navigation block. It can only have a single navigation associated with it, a navigation menu associated with it. And therefore, you can't have different items on your mobile navigation than you can on your desktop navigation. And that can be, in certain circumstances, limiting. I'm not fully convinced that it's always super important to have different items on mobile. I think if your navigation should probably be consistent between the two. But nonetheless, there are occasions where you might wish to do that, or you might wish to customize the content of the overlay. And you cannot do that with the out-of-the-box WordPress navigation. So hopefully that shows you some areas where the default navigation block breaks down. And this is why in my previous video, which I've linked to here, in that video, I showed you a technique to work around this. And that technique required the use of custom CSS styling rules. It also required you to manage multiple blocks, apply lots of settings, and that was very complicated. And whilst people were able to achieve it, I thought we could make it that a lot easier. So luckily, I've got a solution, and I'm going to show you that right now. Okay, so let's take a look at how we can achieve responsive navigation in WordPress. And what I've done is I've created a plugin. It's called the Responsive Navigation Block plugin. And if you want to find out where you can access that plugin, look in the comments down below, and there will be a pinned comment by myself, and there will be a link to the plugin itself. Click on that link and you'll be taken to the plugin. It's a completely free plugin. It's for anyone to use. And all you have to do is click on the link and then install and activate that plugin. Okay, so I've got this site here. The plugin is installed and activated on this site. And I'm going to show you how to switch a standard WordPress site, and here I'm using 2024 theme, over to using this responsive navigation technique. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on the navigation block here, and I'm going to open up list view. And here is our navigation block. I'm going to actually remove it. Whoa. Okay, so since recording this video, I've actually updated the plugin, so there is no need to remove your existing navigation block anymore. We can do this much more easily, and all we need to do is to select our navigation block in the list view. Make sure your block sidebar controls are open by clicking this button, and then find this option here, Transform to Variation. Click on it and select Desktop. And that will transform your existing navigation block into the special desktop variant. Then all I need to do is click on the three dots menu here, hit Duplicate, and I'll have a copy of that menu block created here. I select the copy, and then I go back across to the sidebar, and this time I'm going to transform to the mobile variation. And there we go. That way, it's a completely non-destructive action, and you can retain your existing navigation block with all its maybe styling you already have, and just quickly implement the technique that I go on to talk about in the rest of the video. And with that, let's return to the tutorial. If we click between these two blocks, the editor will automatically switch to the correct preview mode, so the desktop preview and the mobile preview. And you can, of course, do this here through this interface, but I found that it's useful that when you are selecting your mobile navigation, it automatically shows in the mobile view. So now we can take a look at how we can customize these two navigations. Now, the first thing I want you to understand is that I haven't re-implemented the navigation block as a new block. I have used a block variation. And a block variation is basically taking an existing block and setting its attributes by default to certain pre-configured values. What I've done here is I've configured the desktop navigation so that it doesn't have an overlay menu at all, ever. I've inserted the mobile navigation variant always has an overlay set, so you'll never see it on desktop. And these are pre-configured values. I've also done some other tweaks under the hood that required custom CSS, but I've hidden that from you all behind the plugin, so it just works out of the box. So the end result is that you've got two completely separate and independent navigation blocks that you can style and tweak as you want. And that is the key to why this plugin provides full flexibility when you are creating your navigation for desktop or mobile in a responsive way. So let's have a look first at customizing the styles of our mobile navigation. So to customize the styles of our mobile navigation, we're going to click on the mobile navigation here. And what we're going to do is we're going to toggle it open as so. And I'm going to go over to styles, and I'm going to use submenu and overlay background. I'm not going to use background here because that has other effects that are undesirable and we don't want to do. So please ensure you are using the submenu and overlay text and submenu and overlay background colors here. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to select the orange background, and I'm going to click on the text, and I'm going to select the white text. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bump the font size up. Ooh, that's way too much. I'm going to go for large, and I think I'm okay with the way that looks so far. I just would like to move the text over to the right-hand side. Or no, let's center it. Yeah, I prefer it being centered like that. That's good. Okay, so that's great. So now we have a centered navigation. So I'm going to save that out. And on desktop now, our text has remained small and is not centered. On mobile, it is larger and is centered. So we can see how we've already decoupled the styling of the mobile and the desktop block. So that gives you the power that you don't have out of the box with the standard WordPress navigation setup. So let's take a look at how we can customize the mobile icon. And what I mean by that is this little toggle button here. How can we customize that? Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show you how to use a custom icon there today. That isn't within the scope of this plugin currently, although it might be a feature that we could add. But what I can show you is how you can customize the color of this, because that is a common request. What I'm going to do is go back to, I'm going to select my mobile navigation block. I'm going to go over to styles. And what I'm going to do if I want to change the color of this icon is I'm going to click on background. And I think it would be nice if it matched the background of the overlay. So I'm going to go for, no, actually I won't do that. Let's show this one, show it different. So I'm going to choose the accent color of green, and you can see the background color change to green here. And if I want to change the color of the lines, I use the text, and I'm going to use white, like that. So that's how it looks. If I click on it, however, the background remains like this. And the reason for that is because the background of the overlay is set using submenu and overlay colors, and the text and background color of the icon is set using this. And that's for historical reasons. With the navigation block, it works like that. But for our purposes of creating a responsive navigation, this is the way you can style it. So I would advise you to follow that technique if you wish to customize the icon color. I'm going to save that out again, and we can see that our desktop and our mobile navigation are completely different. So let's take a look at the front of our site now. I'm going to switch over to the front of the site, and here is our desktop navigation. That's fantastic. I'm going to use the browser's developer tools to switch to a mobile layout here. As you can see, we have the mobile version looking just as we expected it and saw it in the editor. Now, the next thing you might be wanting to do is to have completely different items in your mobile navigation. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. To add completely different items in your mobile navigation, you're going to need to create a custom mobile menu. And I think the best way to do this is to select the navigation block as it is and check which menu is currently assigned. So if you click here, you can see that the desktop menu is currently assigned. What we need to do is create a mobile menu for our mobile navigation. However, you probably don't want to have to recreate your menu absolutely from scratch. So the best way to do this is to click on the icon in the top right. Mine's a bit difficult to see, yours will look slightly different to that. And click on navigation here. It will take you to your desktop navigation, which should be the one that's used here. And then what you need to do is click on actions and click on duplicate. That will create a copy of that navigation. As you can see, it's called copy. And what you're going to do then is you're going to click on actions again on this copy and click rename. And you're going to delete the word copy, because you don't want that. And we're going to change the word desktop for mobile. And we're going to hit save. And then you're going to click on this icon here. And that's going to take you back to your overview of the navigation menus you've got available on your site. Now remember, if you've been working on your site for a while, you may have other navigation menus here, but because this is a fresh install, I've only got the two here. So I've got desktop and mobile. And you can name these however you want. I think it's just easier if you call them desktop and mobile, just because it's easy to remember those two things. Let's click back into the editor now. And our desktop navigation is still using the desktop menu. And if we click on the mobile one, what we want to do now is switch that over to using the mobile menu. So I'm going to do that now. And because it was a copy, nothing will actually change. If you see what I mean, because we copied the desktop navigation, which means you don't have to recreate it from scratch. So what I'm going to do is the first thing, I don't want any submenus. I don't want any submenus in my mobile navigation. So what I'm going to do is click here on this submenu item and remove that. So now I've just got the top level items. And what I'm going to do is add some extra ones. I'm going to add a search box, I like that. Below that, I'm going to add some social icons. Let's configure the social icons. Click on the social icons block. There's a very tiny plus here. I don't personally like the way that works for social, but it's the way it works at the minute. So we're going to run with it. Click on that. I'm going to add WordPress because, hey, WordPress. And I'm going to click on social icons again. And I'm going to click on the little button again. I'm going to click on YouTube this time. I'm going to configure it for youtube.com/Dave on WP. That's this channel, if you didn't know. And I think that's fine. That's the way I want my social icons to look, and this is the way I want my desktop overlay to look. So now, if we go to desktop, sorry, my mobile navigation, if we go to desktop now, we can see we've still got the three items we had before because it is using the desktop navigation menu. And if I switch to mobile, it's using the mobile navigation menu, and therefore we can add custom items as much as we want. The thing to bear in mind with this, and this is where there is a potential for some confusion, is because you now have separate menus for desktop and mobile, if you add something to your desktop menu, it's now not automatically going to show on your mobile menu. You have to switch to your mobile menu and add it there as well if you want to. I consider this to be a pretty advanced use case. I think most people will be happy sharing the same menu items between mobile and desktop. But if you do have an advanced use case where you need to say, hey, I need to have less items, fewer items on mobile, or I need to have additional items like search or social icons, then this is one way you can achieve it. But because it is an advanced use case, it does add some additional overhead in terms of maintaining your menus. So let's have another look at the front of our site. We're going to save out again. We're going to click on here. We're going to click View Site. And sure enough, we have our overlay with a submenu, and we're going to go back to Developer Tools, and we will see that when we click here, we have our search box and our social icons for the mobile version, which is exactly what we want. So the next thing that you might want to do is customize the point or the screen size at which your mobile navigation switches to desktop. And if we have a look at our site currently, there is a point at which it switches between mobile and desktop, and it is about there. And by default, it's set to something like 782 pixels or 781 pixels, something like that. And if I just toggle this value here, as it goes below 782, it switches to mobile, and above switches to desktop, like so. But there may be occasions where if you have a lot of items in your navigation, you might want to tweak that point at which things switch. And this plugin does afford you the ability to do that. So back in the editor, we're going to click on this icon at the top right. And if you're in one of these sub screens, just keep clicking the arrow until you get back to here. And when you get back to here again, you can click the arrow again and it will go back to your WordPress dashboard. I'm going to go to Settings and I'm going to look for Responsive Navigation. I'm going to click on that. And you can see by default that the breakpoint is set to 782. The breakpoint is the setting for when it switches between mobile and desktop. And it is currently using 782 pixels. That's a unit of measurement in CSS or in screen sizes. And that is the default for the WordPress navigation block. So if you're using the navigation block that comes out of the box with WordPress, this is the value that it will use by default. And I've used that in our plugin as well. But if you wanted to change that, then you could do that. And you can even use relative values here, such as the viewport width, rems or EM units. I'm going to stick with pixels for simplicity here, but you can do whatever you wish to achieve this. I'm going to bump this up so that the breakpoint is now going to be 900 pixels. I'm going to save that. I am going to now switch over to the front of my site. I'm going to reload. And now we will see that as we get bigger, even though we're above 782 pixels, we're still showing the mobile version of the desktop. And it is not going to be until we get above 900, now 900, that we see the desktop version shown. So you can completely customize now the point at which you want your mobile version of your navigation to switch out to show your desktop version of the navigation. Okay, so thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. And earlier on, I promised those of you who did stick around, I'd show you exactly where to download and access the functionality I showed you in this video absolutely free. Well, the good news is this is, as I said earlier, a free WordPress plugin, and you can now download this on the official WordPress.org plugin repository. And the easiest way to do that is to simply look down below this video for the comment section and find the pinned comment by me. And in that pinned comment will be a direct link to the plugin page on the repository where you can download the plugin. And if you go to the plugins page, you'll see that there's a big download link here, and you can click download the zip and upload it to your file, to your site. If you just want to experiment with the plugin and try it without using it on a real site, you can actually click this live preview button. And what this button will do is actually spin up a version of what's called WordPress Playground, which is basically WordPress running entirely in your browser, which is all very, very clever, and we can cover that in another video. But essentially, it will automatically download the plugin and provide you with a temporary instance of WordPress where you can play around. So you can just do whatever you want here and experiment with the plugin. So I can show you here, I can easily just switch to the desktop version, and I can create my mobile version quickly, as I showed you previously in this video. And there we go. I can play around with this plugin as much as I want. And when I'm done, I can simply close out my browser and the instance of WordPress will be destroyed, and that's absolutely fine. So if you just want to give this plugin a try, see if it works for you, see if you might want to use it on your site, then definitely head over to the comment section and check out the link, and you can click on that live preview button to try it out for yourself. I hope you found this video about the responsive navigation block plugin useful. If you did, and this plugin added value to you, I'd really appreciate it if you would help me out by hitting that like button. Just hit it right now. It really helps the channel, helps me reach more people just like you. Also, consider subscribing to the channel because I'm going to be bringing out more WordPress related content just like this in the very near future. Also, I'd love to hear from you if you've got feedback about this plugin or anything really about WordPress. Just go down to the comment section below, leave me a comment, and I'll be sure to get back to you. That's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.